Welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. I'm Peter Gross, co-host of the original Wild Kingdom with Marlin, Perkins, and Jim Fowler. If there's one thing we've learned when filming Wild Kingdom, it's that nature can be harsh. Not all animals are strong and healthy enough to survive. In tonight's episode, we'll explore the relationship between predator and prey. Each plays an important role in keeping animal populations in check. The old and the sickly animals are naturally weeded out, leaving the strong and the healthy to produce the next generation. In fact, predators are only successful about 50% of their attempts to catch food. This reality can seem harsh, but it's absolutely necessary to create that delicate yet natural balance of the animals in the Wild Kingdom. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
To capture an anaconda requires daring skill. To treat an injured chimpanzee requires caution. And every encounter with the untamed is preceded by the warning, danger, wild animals. Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. And now, here is Marlin Perkins, director of the world-famous St. Louis Zoo, with today's adventure, Danger, Wild Animals.
Hello, welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. You got the right number yet, Mr. Moak? Here, let's see what your sign says. Danger, Wild Animals. This is Mr. Moak, one of several well-trained chimpanzees here at the St. Louis Zoo. Now, he doesn't look so dangerous, does he? Well, of course, at his age, about 7 years, he's not too dangerous. But when he gets to be 14 or 15, he'll be full-grown and much stronger. His disposition may change, and he could be dangerous. Hey, just a minute here, just a minute. Oh, sorry, operator. Come on. Well, Mr. Moak, I don't know if you're going to like him or not. I guess not. So you better go out in the other room, Moak. Here, you better come out in the other room. Go out, go on out. You know, we have to move animals here at the zoo every once in a while from one cage to another. And we also have to catch them to hold them when they're sick. And this is possible even with the most dangerous animals in the zoo if you understand the danger part of that particular animal. For example, with an alligator, the most dangerous place is around the head end, where he could grab you with those enormously strong jaws. Well, Jim, I see you're staying back at the safe end of the alligator.
I sure am. The most dangerous place is off to the side because a big gator can actually use his tail to knock you up into his jaws.
Yeah, and I'd want to stay away from both ends in that case. Well, Jim, I guess we better put him away. Okay. Why don't you grab him by the tail first?
All right. You got it. Okay, I got it. Oh. This is the only way I know of handling him.
Well, we'll take him back to his cage in a little while. Right now, some of the men are getting ready to move a really big alligator from one enclosure to another. This can be one of the most dangerous operations in our whole zoo. Jim, let's go on down and join them. Jim, you remember Moody, of course.
Moody?
You're Moody Lance. You're all set with your men and everything's all ready to go?
We're
going to try it right now.
Okay, we'll back you up, Moody. Dangerous part of an alligator, of course, his head, but Moody's going to have to look out for his tail end here. Here's your pole, Moody.
All right, now pull it.
Hold a little tension here. Now, Jim, if you can get that other rope on him. Wait a minute, Moody, let's pull him over this way. He's a heavy one.
Let's pull him over here. All right, over here.
Now we got to get the rope through the box. Now pull him in. Straight in. Hey, he's clear in. Doors down. Now that the alligator is securely captured, he'll be moved to new quarters where he'll be released. Most of the large reptiles are carnivorous and therefore perhaps a little more dangerous than some of the other animals that prefer to run away from man. Big snakes present special problems in handling. I think I can demonstrate that with a constrictor in the laboratory.
How are things, Moke?
Mr. Moke, you better keep your nose out of that alligator box. You'll get bitten. Okay, Mr. Moke, now you sit right down here and pay attention because I have a surprise in here for you. I don't blame you for taking off, Mr. Moke. This is one of the smaller of the giant snakes of the world. Jim, you just watch his tail so he doesn't get around my neck. A boa constrictor, well named because he is a constrictor. You can see how he's wrapping around my arm. I have a hold of his neck here so he can't bite me. They squeeze their prey to death. Chickens, ducks, rabbits, animals of that size. And they're powerful as can be in the constriction, but when they're stretched out, not so dangerous. Recently, we photographed my good friend Ross Allen catching a really big anaconda down at Silver Springs, Florida. Now, it would be hard to beat Ross's knowledge and experience with reptiles, but in this case, he nearly met his match. The anaconda is completely at home in the water, more so, in fact, than a man. So Ross starts with a natural disadvantage. The big danger is from the snake's mouth, so Ross goes for the head first. If the big constrictor gets itself wrapped around Ross's chest or neck, he's in serious trouble. Ross finally wore the anaconda out, but it took all the skill and knowledge he's gained through many years of handling animals as dangerous as this one.
There certainly is a lot of danger involved in handling a 20-foot anaconda.
Well, Jim, when you handle wild animals of any kind, you're on guard because you expect trouble. Sometimes we have to handle one of our animals here at the zoo in order to provide care that he wouldn't receive in the wild state. Jim Fowler is going to show us how to handle a bird that can be very dangerous. In this cage is a golden eagle that needs to have its beak trimmed. This calls for expert knowledge of how to approach the bird, catch it, and hold it so that neither the bird nor the handler is injured. Jim, what's your plan of action here?
Well, I hate to use a net to catch an eagle because that's a good way of breaking his feathers. What I'm going to try to do is get close enough to thrust this stick out and make him grab it with his feet. When he locks on it, he thinks it's part of me, and this gives me time to reach down and grab him with the legs. And I know once I get him caught, I'm going to need some help to trim his beak. His beak is not a weapon. The real danger is in his claws, and that's why I like to use this stick.
Well, Jim, I have all the instruments here.
Good.
I guess first you want to immobilize his mouth, don't you?
Yeah, he can really bite with that if he wants.
Well, let's put that stick in just for security. Now you want to trim off the end here, do you? Well, let me see. Is that about right?
Good. Yeah.
Okay. And then you want to shape it up with a knife?
Both sides evenly, yeah.
Yeah, that cuts pretty hard. That's harder than fingernails.
Yes, it is. Ought to do it.
Let's just polish that a little bit. Now, final polishing.
Now, we had to rough him up a little bit, but he's going to be able to eat a lot better with that nice trim beak now.
Yes, he is. Okay, Jim. I guess he's ready for release.
Okay, unhood him. There you go, boy. You let me get out of here first.
As you can see, in handling an eagle, you have to know what you're doing. Well, here at the zoo, we have to move many of our animals, and this presents some real problems, each of which is different, depending upon which animal has to be handled. A transfer cage with a sliding door is set beside the animal's big cage. It's best to test that door because you may only have one chance to trap him. The wire of his cage must be cut from inside. During this, the big cat is locked in a section at the rear. Now, this is heavy gauge steel chain link fence, and when it's cut, it's rolled back out of the way, exposing the door of the transfer cage. Here he comes. A heavy stream of water is one way to persuade a big cat to go where you want him to go. It's especially effective with cats because most of them don't like water, and cats have to be annoyed into doing things. Getting wet does him no harm, and after he's been annoyed for a few minutes, he's eager to take refuge in the transfer cage. This mountain lion is glad to be away from the water, and now he'll be moved to nice new quarters in another building. When a chimpanzee at the zoo needs to be treated for any kind of injury or given an injection, You better put him in a specially designed cage, otherwise he's going to bite and hurt you. This is a squeeze cage with a portable wall, movable wall that comes forward and confines the animal into a narrow area. This holds him firmly where he can't hurt himself and where he can't hurt you. Now he has something wrong with his foot, so little Pancho here is going to be examined. He's not going to like it, and he'll tell us so, but believe me, it's for his own good. This squeeze cage is another example of the almost extraordinary precautions taken by man when he handles animals. One of the most effective methods of capturing and immobilizing dangerous animals without harming them or being harmed is the capture gun, a gun that is gas-powered, shooting a projectile dart which injects a drug upon impact. But there are some situations in which even a capture gun can't be used, such as having a bear up a tree, like Jim had recently in the Rocky Mountains.
I was helping to capture and remove a bear who had become a nuisance in one of the populated areas. I had that problem plus a few more. The first stage in capturing a bear is to put trained hounds on his trail and let them run him up a tree. This particular bear had picked his territory too close to my friend Ed Young's ranch and was disturbing his livestock. Now that the hounds had him treed, our job was to get him down. This bear would weigh at least 250 pounds, and believe me, that's a lot more bear than either Ed or I could handle alone. So the trick is to use 2 men and 2 ropes. The scheme is to work a loop with a slip knot over his head. That isn't easy because you also have to get him to step through the loop with one leg so the rope won't tighten around his neck and strangle him. A bear's claws can slash you to ribbons, so you have to be on your guard every moment. And you can be sure that you won't get any cooperation from the bear at all. He simply does not like to be lassoed. That's one rope. Now for the second. If he'll just step through this loop now, I'll have him. The point of having 2 ropes is to pull him out of the tree with one of them while you lower him gently to the ground with the other. My rope is snubbed over a branch so he won't hit the ground too hard when he falls. Ed Young told me that sometimes bears actually jump down trying to escape, but this one took a lot of persuasion. At this point, it's very helpful to have 2 ropes, because as long as we kept our ropes taut, the bear couldn't go for either one of us. With only one rope, the bear can take hold and pull you towards him. And bears are very smart this way. Fortunately, our bear cooperated in going into the box. This was the first step of a long trip to transport the bear across the mountain to an area where he will have much less competition with man. After an escapade like that, you feel as though you've done a full day's work. I guess the bear feels that way too.
Using a rope is still one of the best ways of capturing a wild animal. This is the method we use to capture a zebra in Africa, but in a slightly different way. We were hunting with the famous wild animal catcher, Willie de Beer. Willie operates a wild animal farm in Tanganyika. In this herd of zebras, Willie has spotted 3 young ones. And of course, it's one of the young ones he'll want to capture. Willie's technique is to drive the zebras into the open and ride them down. The chase gets pretty wild, especially for the man up front with the noose. The ground is rough, and the pace is 40 miles an hour. Now the men must subdue the zebra, and this is where experience really counts. First, the handiest place to grab him is by the tail. Now, a zebra can kick like a mule, but a firm downward hold on his tail discourages this. Next, you grab his ears. This keeps his head under control. Also, a rope around his mouth will prevent a nasty bite. 3 or 4 men can subdue an animal like this, but it takes a special kind of skill and courage. I've seen this team of Willie de Beer and his men capture rhinos, giraffes, and many other animals. They've tackled things I wouldn't want to try, but because they know the animals, they've been successful for many years. The proper equipment sure does make a difference, but still the most important thing is knowing your animal, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, I'd say that's at least 90% of it. I've always found that exploring the habits of animals is fascinating.
I guess you're right, Moke.
Yes, Mr. Moke, I guess from your point of view, man is a dangerous animal. But you know, there is so much for man to enjoy in the wild kingdom, and it rarely happens that an animal is dangerous to man unless that animal is provoked into being dangerous. Most animals prefer to be left alone, and wild animals should be. However, if you should ever raise a young wild animal, remember that he will be tame and gentle for a while, but as he matures, he may become dangerous and even turn on you. A cowboy once told me of his philosophy about people and animals. He said there are 2 kinds of people, those that stir animals up and those that gentle animals down, and I like to be one who gentles them down. Well, we do too, and we hope you've enjoyed this visit into the wild kingdom.
Like what you saw? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more exclusive content. And visit our website at wildkingdom.com.